Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar series, What's New at AmericanAncestors.org. I'm Courtney Reardon, Events Manager here at American Ancestors and New England Historic Genealogical Society. I'll be moderating today's webinar. American Ancestors is a nonprofit organization supported by our members and donors. We provide resources and expertise in nearly all aspects of family history and are pleased to offer such programming for our members and friends around the world. This program today is brought to you by the Brew Family Learning Center. Our presentation, our webinar today is being presented by Claire Vail, our Vice President of Digital Strategy and Communications. Claire has 20 years of experience as a digital marketing and content strategist for high-profile institutions in higher education, publishing, and media. Before joining NEHGS, she was the Director of Web Communications at Tufts University, where she oversaw the implementation of large-scale website redesign. Claire has a master's degree in journalism from Northeastern University and a second master's in English literature from the University of Delaware, with a concentration in 18th century British and American studies. After an introduction to our website, Claire will highlight our newest databases and additions to our digital collections. Then we'll discuss a few projects that are in progress and wrap up with questions from you, our listeners. At any point during the presentation, feel free to type your question in the panel at the bottom of your screen. It's a little Q&A button. We'll address those after the presentation. There is no handout for this presentation, but we are recording the event, and starting tomorrow, or probably even later this afternoon, you can easily go back and review any of the content from the presentation on our website. So if you missed something on the first listen, don't worry, you can always review the presentation later. So without further ado, I will turn things over to Claire. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you, Courtney. I'm going to share my screen. Welcome, everybody. It is great to have you here today. So I'm trusting everyone can see that screen. That's the website. So welcome from downtown Boston. It's pouring down rain here, but the trees are starting to turn color and it's going to be a gorgeous fall. So that's good. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about some new databases and content and features on this website. The last What's New on the Website webinar occurred on April 7th of this year. So I'm going to be telling you about additions and changes after that date. At the same time, I'm going to show you how to find the content on our website. I'm going to use the live site for a webinar rather than a PowerPoint presentation. So in the process, I'll be going through the navigation. Now, if you haven't seen this version of the website, this looks new to you. We did a redesign in 2021, in November of 2021. So if you haven't seen it since then, this will be a bit of an introduction to the new structure and also some of the new features and the new content. We've added quite a bit since then. I'm going to reserve some time at the end of the conversation or at the end of this webinar to have a conversation with you and to take any questions you have about where you can find things or how to use some of these new features. So a little bit about us to start, because I looked at the last questions that came in for this last webinar. And one of the questions was, are you really just New England resources? So I wanted to address that. Our data, our collections, our programs, our experts and their expertise is not confined to New England. So we really do get this question quite a bit. People assume because our name is has New England in it that we are really only New England, and that is very much not the case. It's less the case all the time. Our strength and our concentration now for 177 years has been New England, but in the last decade, we've broadened considerably. We have resources for researchers no matter where their ancestors are from, and you'll see that as I go through this site. I also want to talk about how we are the hardest working nonprofit in family history, to borrow a line from James Brown. We are constantly evolving, and we are producing more content now than ever have at any time in our history. And when I say content, I mean programs, I mean services, I mean features, I mean the amount of dedication and time and effort we put into our technology. So we are growing, and we are by far the largest genealogical society in the country and perhaps the world. I haven't found a larger one. But we are not, we are not stagnant. We are not confined to New England. So I just wanted to get those things across. Another question we sometimes get is, are you owned by Ancestry because of our name, American Ancestors? We are not owned by Ancestry. We are an independent nonprofit. So just wanted to address that up front. So I'm going to start this webinar by talking about what's new in our database collection. So to do that, I'm going to start over on the left-hand side of the site and go to search. And I'm going to talk a bit about what is in our database collection. So we have 1.4 billion names that are stretched across 489 databases. And if you come to that search menu, this will take you directly into the search application. So I'm going to go back for a second just to show you the options in the search menu. So we have databases, those 489 databases that you can search. You can also search all of our content by topic. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this after talking about the new databases. But this is a brand new feature as of November, the new website in November 2021. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because unlike some of the other organizations in this business, we are not just a set of online databases and a family tree program. We have both those things, but we have many more things to offer you as well. So at any point in time, we're working on several new database projects. And by several, I mean, as many as 20 or 30 different collections that we're working on behind the scenes to bring to you. We're also constantly adding new volumes to existing databases. Now, sometimes we bring out a collection of images early as its own database, and then we'll later add the transcripts to a second database. So you'll have, early on, you'll have an image-only database, and then later you'll have the images plus the transcripts. And we do that so you don't have to wait. Before we dive in, I want to show you really quickly, if you want to know in real time, the moment that we add new volumes or new databases to this online data set, you can sign up for database news. So you have to go to dbnews.americanancestors.org, and you can also find it via our website. But you'll come here, and if you notice over on the right-hand side, it says get notified when we add new data. So the people who manage the database team are actually uploading notifications to this website. And so if you sign up with your email address, now you won't be automatically signed up if you become a member of American Ancestors. You have to take the initiative and do this yourself. So you would type in your email here and hit subscribe. This is not a marketing newsletter or anything. This is strictly to alert you when we add new data. So if there's a volume for a data set that you're really anticipating, I would highly recommend doing that. you can also search this site to find out if you have missed an update. So if you're looking, for example, for Catholic records, volume updates, or another database, you can just search right here in the search bar, and it will go through years of updates here. We've been doing DB News for at least a year, if not 2 years now. So let's come back to search and to our new databases. So the first one I'm going to talk about is our Boston Catholic Records Project. And I'm sure if you've attended these in the past, you've heard a lot about this database. So a little bit of background about this, about the Boston Catholic Records Project. We are the only organization anywhere with these records. So this data set is completely unique to us. You won't find it on Ancestry. You won't find it on Family Search or MyHeritage or Find My Past, just us. So this data set spans the earliest days of the Catholic Church from 1789 to 1920. These records are sacramental records, and they include a ton of information about Catholics who were living in Boston during that long period. If you want some background on, I'm going to move around a bit here, but if you want some background on this project and you come over in the right-hand side of the navigation, you can find that we've built a site that is completely dedicated to this project, to the history, to how the database was actually put together, and how we worked with the Archdiocese to get these records online. And so if you're curious, if you're not a Catholic, or if you're a lapsed Catholic like I am, you can look for information about the sacraments, the 7 sacraments, because those are the records that make up this collection. So, for example, we described each of the sacraments here. You can see some of the examples of the early church records. You can watch a video or a slideshow about how we put this project together. And then you can do a deep dive with a timeline all about the history of the Catholic Church in Boston. So this was quite a labor of love, so I like to show it off, but it's a great background if you really want to do a deeper dive into the Catholic records, the background of the Catholic Records Project. So coming back to the database, we've recently completed this project. So when we partnered with the Archdiocese, the initial project was to scan and index records from 1789 to 1900. The Archdiocese then came back to us and said, can you continue from 1900 to 1920? And so now we have a complete set of records from 1789 to 1920. So this is one of the databases I mentioned that has an image-only collection and also a full collection with images and transcripts both. So in case you missed where I went here, I'm going to the A to Z list of all the databases. So that's that second link in the menu. Here I'm going to get a list of those 489 databases. If you're a member, you have access to the full complement of databases. If you are a guest member, meaning a non-paying member, you have access to a smaller subset of databases. So quickest way to find what I'm looking for is to type in Catholic. And you can see here it says image only for the 4th data set down. So that's only images. Now that image only data set is accessible to guest members. The full set with images plus transcripts is accessible to members only. So I'm going to come here and click on this and just show you a couple records here, or a couple things first about the database itself. So this database has 15,364,114 searchable names. So as you know, sometimes there's several names on a record. One of the things to note about how all our database pages work is you'll get the full title of the database up at the top. You're going to get more information specifically about how to search that database down below. So always, when you hit any of our database pages and you're ready to search, I recommend first scrolling down and taking a look at the information below. Sometimes there are videos specific to how to search that database. In this case, I'm going to show you a couple tools, a really exciting tool if you're into the Catholic Records database, which is the parish boundary map. And there's a couple other databases that have map tools that you wouldn't necessarily know about unless you're scrolling down and taking a look. So here, I'm going to do a quick search just to show you what kind of records are inside this database. And I'm going to search on just a name that I know has a record associated with it. And well, maybe it's this here. Well, I can show you one of these. So I wanted to point out with some of these records, they were originally in the language of the parishioners, and the priest often documented the sacramental records in that language. So a lot of these records have been translated by our team from Latin, from French, from Italian, Spanish, and other languages. So you'll see here that one of the things that we've done is we've anglicized some of the names. So if, Maria is generally Maria, but let's say, for example, that your ancestor is William, and the record, the actual image of the record says Guillaume, you should be able to find it both as William and Guillaume. So we've taken those extra steps to make sure that you can find your records. So you'll see here that you can view the original document. And if you've used our viewer here, you can use the controls over on the side to zoom in and see that original document. And then you can toggle between the transcription of the document and the image. And so here's the transcription, and you're going to see all the names that are on that particular document. So I go back a sec. Now I'm going to show you that other tool that I mentioned, the parish boundary map. So let's quickly take a spin through this. So this is relatively new as well. This was done in 1955. And it's a tool provided by the Archdiocese, created by the Archdiocese. So if you see this here, you're going to open up to an introduction and a description of what this map details. But if you come over to the upper right-hand side, you can open this up in the map viewer, which gives you a larger picture here. Yeah, it's going to take a little while for the controls to come up. So you can see on the left-hand side here, you have all the parishes for the Catholic Church in Boston, circa 1955. You're going to see the church names over on the left, and you can see a few more controls over here. And if you hover over, it's going to give you the different tools that you can use. What I like to show people here is that the dots correspond with the legend on the left to tell you the names of the churches. If you hover over, if you click on the dots, you should come up. I think it's a little slow. I just got to be patient. So if you click on the dots, you're going to get two screens. You'll get the name of that parish, the name of the church, and the address of the church. And then if you click to that second screen, in that pop-up box, you're going to get a little more information about the address. So the reason this is useful to people looking for their Catholic ancestors is that sometimes you know where your ancestor was from or where they were living at the time, but there are multiple churches in the region of their address. So this map allows you to see what the boundaries of that parish were. So you can see, well, if my ancestors' records are not in one particular church, they may belong to another church here. They may have gone to another church. So it's just interesting to be able to put the parish records in context and get a little more information. So a plug for digging a little deeper into the information on that database page for sure. You can also see at a quick glance on the right-hand side all the different names that are on a record, and that's a consistent feature throughout our database search functions. So I'm just going to back out with the back arrow here. And I am going to tell you, I just mentioned very quickly that we have another database, as long as we're talking about Catholic databases, we have another database that is relatively new, and that is the Catholic Cemetery Association records. So those span from 1833 to 1940. We recently added 4 new cemeteries, but we are complete as of now with this database. So you can scroll down again and get more information and sample images here. You can see the entire list of books, and that tells you how many cemeteries are contained. The records for these cemeteries are contained within this collection. All right, so moving on to another brand new database. If you watched the last webinar, What's New, there was a teaser for a new collection that we have called the General Society of the War of 1812 membership applications. And so I'm delighted to say that that is now, or half of that database is now available for you to search. So this database is free to both guest members and members, paying members. And let me go and find this here. So I'm going to type in just 1812. You don't need to type in the whole name. Sorry, a little bit of a lag here. So I'll just talk while this finds it. So since 1894, the General Society of the War of 1812 has chartered state societies throughout the US and remains the preeminent hereditary society for male descendants of veterans of the War of 1812. So if you have if you're a man and you have an ancestor who fought in the War of 1812, and you can document that lineage back to your ancestor, you're eligible to join this lineage society. So we've partnered with them to bring their applications online. So when the work on this database is complete, we will have just shy of 500,000 names in this database. That's an estimate. So close to 500,000 names. Right now, we have 230,000 names you can search in the War of 1812. So here we go. It's the second one here in this list. So I'm going to click on this, and you can see here I am at the membership applications. So these span the years from 1854 to 1879. So if you want more information about the General Society of the War of 1812, you can go to their website. And there's quite a robust website with lots and lots of information about the history of that society, how to apply, and their events. They frequently have events. Some of them are hosted at NEHGS in Boston. So this database has all the applications and all the supplemental applications to the General Society of the War of 1812, which started in 1854 when the organization was founded. You can search this database for given names and for surnames. It includes records for births, baptisms, marriage, deaths, and burials. All of these listed for persons in the line of eligibility for membership on the application form. So if we go to, I think I pulled one up here already, so we don't have to wait for the site to load. So this is a typical application for the War of 1812. They're generally 3 to 5 pages, depending on the length of the lineage that's documented. So what you'll see here is the first page of an application, which starts with the applicant. So this is the person living who is applying for membership in the society. And they will also name the ancestor, the furthest back ancestor, the soldier who fought in the War of 1812. So you'll see those two names are listed there. The second page of the application is generally, and this is the case with most lineage applications, is generally the lineage itself. So if I zoom in on this, you'll see this with the Mayflower applications and with our other application databases, that you're getting quite a lot of information here that's going backwards in reverse chronological order. So starts with the most recent ancestor and then backs out all the way to, in this case, to the 1700s, and to the ancestor who fought in the war. So you can see at the bottom, Richard Rawlins is the ancestor. He was a soldier in Brown and Scott's army. And so you get a lot of interesting information about not only the applicant, but their entire lineage back to their ancestor. The third document is, generally speaking, the documentation that supports that lineage. So you can see there's mentions of it here. The original documentation is not always there, and often not there, but you're seeing here the notes and the authorities that support the application. And then you'll see the signature of the society and the signature of the applicant. So this is halfway done with 170,000 records. And as I mentioned, 230,000 names. We are continuing to release material. You won't find applications for people born after 1979, of course, out of respect for living people. And the database includes applications from member number 1 to member 5,200. If you know that specific member number, it'll be in that range. If there's an application that's excluded, it's most likely due to the privacy policy that's outlined above. If you want information on when the next load happens, the next upload to this database happens, you should sign up for database news, the first thing that I mentioned in this webinar, and we'll be able to let you know. Okay, so moving on to another database. Let me go back here. Nothing like having a million web pages open here. So I'm going to come back to search. I can actually just go straight to the A to Z list of databases. Another database that we are currently working on is the Genealogist, which is the scholarly publication for the American Society of Genealogists. As part of our partnerships, we have quite a complement of journals that we offer. You can see a lot of those are coming up here. So the American Genealogist, the Maine Genealogist, Virginia Genealogist, et cetera, et cetera. So this is our latest addition to our journals. And you can see the description down here. So this is published twice a year. This is a highly respected scholarly journal, similar to our journal, the Register. It is the main publication of the American Society of Genealogists. We will eventually be hosting volumes 1 through 30, starting with 1980, when they started publishing. That was the first year of their publication, and it's the first volume that we have up. So we have 2 volumes up right now, 1980 and 1981. We're probably going to be uploading volumes every 2 weeks or so. So again, a plug for signing up for database news if you want to know the minute we release a new volume. just a bit more about the American Society of Genealogists. It was founded in 1940. It's an independent honorary society of the leading published scholars in the field of genealogy. And it has served the discipline of genealogy by embodying and promoting the highest standards of scholarship. So if you look here, let me just pull up a title page for one of the volumes. So you'll see here, you're getting a lot of articles about specific families written by scholars, and they're revealing specific discoveries or errors corrected for those families and lineages. So if you're familiar with our register, it's similar to that. You can do a keyword search. You can limit your search to article title only. And just so you know, the fields that you can search in any database search page are limited to the information that's indexed in that database. So you can see that this search form is custom to the genealogist. It's very different from the search form that you would see here for the War of 1812. So for 489 databases, each database, now some of them will look the same, but each database has a search form that is specific to the information that's indexed for that database. And so this reduces the number of poor results that you get. It's an important thing. A long time ago, we used to have one standard search form for all databases. You can still do that. You can still search all databases at once. But if you know that you want to drill down into a particular database, it's much more helpful to know that that the fields only pertain to the information you're going to find there. Okay. So there are other database updates since April 7th. They are mostly volumes added. So I'm not gonna search for all of these, but I'll just read through some of these updates. If you go to database news and you search for these, you'll find them listed here. So we've added 18 new sketches to early Vermont settlers. So that's early Vermont settlers from 1700 to 1784. We've added 2 sketches to early New England families. We have added an update to the Suffolk County probate file papers, and another update to the Norfolk County probate file papers. And then we've added we've done a redo of the Christian Intelligencer databases. So those are marriages in the Reformed Dutch Church. So if you are interested in any of that information, I would recommend going to database news, typing in the name or the keyword that you're interested in here. You'll get the information about the update itself, and then you can actually go and search on the website. So I want to talk a little bit about search in general on our website, and this is for folks who really haven't explored the site since its redesign, or maybe haven't availed themselves of the new features. One of the more exciting new features here is federated search, which is what we call it behind the scenes, but all content search. So as I mentioned before, we're much more than a collection of 489 databases. We've been publishing since our inception, 177 years ago. We have a lot of content here. We do a lot of webinars. We do a lot of programs. All of that content is put onto the website and tagged with keywords. So you can search for content, and this is not name-based search. So you can see underneath it says looking for database records, go to database search. So you can search for the name of an ancestor, but you're not going to get records here. What you're going to get is all the information about that topic. So, Let me come back here for a second. I think it's just loading. It's not that there's 0 results. There we go. So you can see that there's quite a few results here that span a number of different collections. So you'll see here it's notifying you where there are atoms, mentions of atoms, not necessarily records, but the word atoms in database descriptions. It's telling you that in our digital book and manuscript collection, there are 9 mentions of atoms collections. This is probably collections of papers. 2 mentions in the Jewish Heritage Center collections, a book in our bookstore with that title, mentions in the GU 272 Memory Project, 91 mentions across the entire website, and 2 in yet another project. So database search is really doing a website search of a keyword-based website search of all the content. So this is a great way, and I know this is going to take a long time to load here, but let me just try Mayflower. So this is something we have quite a bit of information on. This is a great way to get a 30,000-foot view of what we have on the site. Again, not specific ancestor record-based searching, but a comprehensive look at all the data that could possibly help you in your research. So if you haven't tried out content-based searching, please do. It's a big addition to the site and really helps people uncover a lot of information they didn't know was there. So I'm going to cover a few more things that are new since April. And I want to make sure first that the second tab from the left here is events, that people know to look at our calendar for upcoming events. So our calendar allows you to do a deep dive into all the different events, to register for those events. So we have quite a few events, two to 3 events a week. These include free lectures, paid events on a wide variety of topics. When an event happens, when a webinar happens, it is archived and put into the video library. So if you missed an event and you want to watch it, you can do that here. So you can also just search and see what is available. So, if you do a keyword search, it'll pull up anything with a mention of that topic, that keyword in the description or the title. So we get a lot of questions like, oh, I missed that event, I couldn't do it, I was working, I was visiting my grandkids. You can always find it in the video library. A new thing since April that I want to call out here is courses on demand. So here, these are paid courses. So it doesn't matter whether you're a membership or a member or not a member, you can take a course a la carte. And again, this is under events and courses on demand. It's also over in the tools menu here, courses on demand. And so that's exactly what it sounds like. When you are so disposed, you can take a full course. So these courses run over several days. They're very, very deep dives taught by experts. They have course materials that go along with them. So if you purchase these courses, you have permanent access to all the materials that you've bought through your membership. You can see that these courses are only available for a 6-month window after they're given. So the general way it works is the course is actually held in real time. People take that course, then the course is made available to people to purchase afterwards for a 6-month window, and then we archive that course. And the reason we do that is because we don't want to have information out there that's potentially stale. So we will be adding many, many more courses to this collection here. And you can see that they really do span a lot of topics. This is, and again, different than a webinar, very, very deep dive, like taking a week-long college course in these topics. A few other things to mention. There are premium seminars for members that are now available. So if you are a contributing level member or above, so individual and friend are our first tier members. The next tier of members starts with contributing membership. We have curated some special offers for our contributing members. So if you are that level, you get these courses as part of your contributing membership. So it's an incentive in a way. If you do want to join at a contributing level, that means that you're helping our mission. You're paying a little bit more for your membership, but there is a perk for that reason. So you get the recorded lectures, the handouts, and the activities from very popular seminars. Few more things before we wrap up. We have recently launched a K through 12 genealogical curriculum. If you know an educator, a librarian, a teacher, and particularly in the field of social studies, please let them know about this new curriculum. It is not just a series of lesson plans. It's not just drawings of family trees that encourage kids to write down the names of their ancestors or bring in photos of their ancestors. It was a 2-year in the making project by a group of educators and teachers working with us to do a very deep dive into genealogy. It is all inclusive. Often people say, well, how can you do that? What if a child in the classroom is adopted? We've got all kinds of strategies for making this available and fair to all students. It's a fantastic curriculum. We've already had something in the neighborhood of 500 downloads from teachers. There's a lot of positive buzz about this. It's completely free. It's not a marketing gimmick. We don't ask teachers for money halfway through. You can download all the lesson plans in a PDF. There's customizable handouts and activities. You can also, we support teachers by doing free trainings, and that can be one-on-one with Dustin Axe, who was our youth education coordinator. So really fantastic new offering. And one of the really, there are other genealogy-based curricula out there. This is one of the most in-depth and comprehensive approaches. I'll end on 2 points. One is to make sure that you know to go to the homepage and scroll down if you would like to take advantage of a content series we're offering that packages up research into free guides. So these are either reminders for the experienced genealogist or perfect consolidation of tips and tricks and strategies for people who are new to genealogy or a couple years into genealogy. So they can be used at all levels. But we had newer genealogists, people just getting into family history in mind when we created these. So there's a library now, a variety of topics. These are free downloads. So if I click here, I'm going to go to a download page. You just have to give us your name and your email, and then you get an automatic download of this PDF. So again, free guide, covers the basics. We call it Getting Started in American, Getting Started with American Ancestors. So please let folks know if they're just getting started, that's a great way to get some free information. The last thing, and it really will be the last thing, that I say, other than answering your questions, is that we have an offer right now, and this is really just for our paying members. So if you are an individual level member and above, we have a 10% off offer for GEDmatch. So if you're not familiar with GEDmatch, it's a DNA comparison and analysis website for people who have tested their autosomal DNA using a direct-to-consumer genetic testing company like 23andMe, or have some kind of custom file that contains that DNA information. So GEDmatch allows you to process that file, adds it to a genealogical database, and then looks for matches and does further analysis of your DNA. So GEDmatch is great because it can aggregate files from all the testing companies. So if you have taken multiple tests, as many people who are serious about DNA testing do, GEDmatch will aggregate all of those and go out on the internet and look for matches. So we're in partnership with GEDmatch, and we're offering our paying members 10% off any tier 1 membership. So a tier 1 membership at GEDmatch includes an unlimited DNA kit upload, all kinds of advanced visualization tools, expanded DNA match results, and daily match notifications. So we have a special code for our members, and if you are a member, you should have received an email with that code. If you haven't, you haven't seen it, you can email us at webmaster@nehgs.org, or you can contact our membership services and we'll make sure you do get that code. And that's where I'll stop for now, and I will take any questions.
Thank you, Claire. That was great. We have lots of questions in the Q&A field at the bottom of your screen. If you do have any questions for Claire, please go ahead and enter those now. We do have a couple minutes for questions. So I'll just jump right in. A couple people asking about the premium webinars and the on-demand courses. So folks are asking, how long do those premium webinars remain available? And also, how long do the on-demand courses remain available, and if they are unlimited, or the access is unlimited?
How long do they remain up on the site and available for people to purchase?
I believe after they purchase, how long do they have access for them to them?
Permanently. So they're only available for purchase for a window of time, which is generally 6 months after the live course is given. But if you buy them, and I'll just click now to show you the page, what it looks like. But you will have permanent access to that. So it's not gonna disappear once you buy it. It'll permanently be accessible to you.
Thank
And
you.
sorry, the other question was premium?
The same question for the premium webinars.
Same deal. You would permanently get access to that. So the course materials for the premium seminars, and again, that's you have to join at a contributing level. These are not for sale a la carte. So if you are a contributing member, you don't have to pay any more money to get to these. You can see I'm not actually a contributing member. I just work here. But you get access to the course materials automatically. So that wouldn't disappear. But
Great.
they're not available to anyone except a contributing level member.
Great. And I do have Carolyn in the chat is asking if life members count as contributing members. I'm not sure if you know that answer, but
they certainly do.
Okay, great. And I do know if you do purchase any of these, the on-demand courses will show up in your my account field, and they will be there again, as Claire said, for the foreseeable future. Okay, great. Some questions about the search function on the website. Joyce asks if the search box includes the video archives. I know you showed us the video archives, but
Yes, it should. With anything that's keyword based, it's really on the web team to make sure that everything is tagged for it to show up. That's how these things function. So if something doesn't show up, it's because it was missed in the tagging somehow. But and certainly if you see that something is not coming up in the search results menu, you can alert us and we'll make sure it does get in there. But that is the idea, that all videos would come up, that all content on the website would come up, that magazine article or issues would come up. So every piece of content that this organization publishes should be triggered by a search here. It should come up in the search results. And let me just go back to this for a second. Now, this is still relatively new. It was born in November 2021. So, it could be that we just haven't tagged it yet. So it's not going to be letter perfect, but in another 5 years, it certainly will be. But it's pretty good right now. Think of it as a substitute for site search. So there's no, if you go to our homepage and you look for a big box that's just site search, you're not going to see that because that's what this is essentially. And you can see here the different content areas that you're searching. So database descriptions, not records, digital collections and archives so it'll pull in results from the DLA. That's the digital library. Our publications. So if we publish a book on that subject, it's searching the title and the description. Our special projects, our special websites. So those are our signature projects are all here. We've done a lot of content-based websites on different topics. Well, those are listed right here. So yes is the answer. It should.
Great. And I will say this is obviously a fairly new feature and a much welcomed one. I know a lot of people probably were very excited when we launched that. A couple questions about the General Society of War of 1812. We have a couple questions about that. And folks are asking if they should be searching the name of the applicant or the name of the person that served.
That's a good question. I believe, let's try it. So let's see here. So let me come back a little bit. I believe you should be able to get both. So hang on with me. You can either use the back button or come here and use this. So here it is Himes, and then I believe it was, one sec, find the ancestor. Richard Rollins. Okay, so let's come back here. Sorry, it's a little slow. So ask, why don't we go to the next question? I will search while I try to answer the next question.
Sure. I can also answer this one. Linda asked if she purchased a webinar, how do I find it to view it again? And again, that would be in the My Account section of the website. And you can see that in the top right corner of Claire's screen where it says My Account. It's a little drop-down menu. If you've purchased a webinar or many webinars, that should be in that section. And Christine asks, do you need to be a paid member to use the chat with the genealogist feature? Do you know that answer, Claire?
You do not need to be a member. Live chat is open to everybody. And yes, so I just did this proof of concept and verified with my associate director of the databases, and you can search for all names in all applications. So you can search for the ancestor, you can search for the applicant.
Great, that's awesome. We have time for just a couple more questions here. One question about the database news, and if the database news is open to everyone or if it's a members only site.
Everyone,
We love that answer.
everyone. You do not have to be a member. This is a WordPress site. It's independent from our website. We run it, but anybody can sign up. Now, obviously, if you sign up and then you go to the website to search that database, some databases will be behind a paywall when you go to look for that particular record. So this site itself, anybody can sign up, anybody can get alerts, but you would have to have a membership for databases behind the paywall.
Great, thank you. And one last question about the Catholic records. Someone asks if it is only for Boston and or Catholic churches in the vicinity.
Yes, it's only for the parishes within the Boston Archdiocese. So and it depends on what they're looking for. If there are other archdioceses, Fall River and other places, that's not part of this collection. So if you're looking for New York or Baltimore or other places, those collections are online. I believe Find My Past has a lot of those. I believe Ancestry might have some. So depends on what you're looking for. But we don't have all of New England. We just have the Boston Archdiocese.
Great, thank you. Well, that is all the time we have for today. And Claire, I'm going to take over sharing my screen here. Thank you. If you have any other specific questions for either Claire or any of the genealogists about your family history research, you may consider scheduling a consultation or hiring our research services team. You can learn more about those services by contacting the email addresses you see on screen. And I also want to let you know about our chat service that we just talked about. It is a free online service, and you can live chat with our genealogists from Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And I believe on Wednesdays until 8 p.m. Again, this is free. This is open to everyone and can be accessed at americanancestors.org/chat. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. As you leave the event, you will have an opportunity to fill out a survey and give us your feedback. As we continue to expand our webinars and online offerings, any and all feedback is extremely helpful and appreciated. This free webinar was made possible by generous support of members and friends around the world. Please consider making a gift to American Ancestors to keep these programs free and to create more free programs for you and others. If you would like to access more how-to resources or learn about upcoming online educational programs, please visit our online learning center, americanancestors.org/education. Best of luck in your research, and I hope to see you at our online programs in the future. Thank you again, Claire, for that wonderful tutorial and demo of our website. I'm sure we'll have more of those to come. And again, thank you again, and goodbye for now.